uncovered a secret in here? The hunting photo is historical evidence that Richard Remington belonged to a secret society. I'm getting a strong feeling that Remington might be the bad guy in this story. If he wasn't already dead, I would have loved to ask him a couple of questions. I should ask around, see if I can gather any information about his motives for being here. The open window looks over the wooden planks outside. Oh, and on one side, a part of the curtain has been ripped off. No way. No way. Is this a werewolf? Photos and paintings line, but one of the frames is empty. Wait a second. This photograph, maybe I can ask Harper about. This is the creepiest office I've ever been in. I don't know what's in that jar, and I wish it wasn't in there. I'm gonna stop looking at it now. Something happened here. There are signs of a struggle between the desk and the window. Something happened. There are signs of a struggle. You saw Remington last night, but had you met him before? Did you know him?
I've never really spoken with him, but we've come into contact a few times. Vincent likes to handle that kind of work, and I like to let him.
What do you think of this place? The tourist attraction, I mean.
I can't say I like the idea of a natural area like this becoming commercialized.
I know! I just can't understand why anyone would even try.
I think Mr. Remington had his reasons. He looked like a man with a couple of secrets.
Like what?
I have no idea. If I knew, they wouldn't be secrets. You should ask someone else. Try showing it to somebody different. I really don't have an opinion. My apologies.
I suppose you've met with our murder victim, Richard Remington.
Yes, I've been in and out of this place for a while now. Naturally, I've crossed paths with Remington a number of times. Good value, that one. A real raconteur, you know.
You liked him? So far, I'm getting the impression he wasn't the most popular guy around here.
Well, that much is clear, isn't it? The man obviously slipped up somewhere, made an enemy or two, and bam, that's that. You just can't be too careful, can you?
Yeah, I think he did have an enemy or two. Or three. But you liked him.
I respected him. Good head on his shoulders. Good business sense, that man. He understood how to make things work for him.
What can you tell me about your relationship with Richard Remington?
We didn't really have one, and now we definitely don't have one. But look, all I can say is that he was a coward who enjoyed watering down history for his own benefit.
What does that mean?
It means there are some chapters of this swamp's history that he never wanted anyone to know about.
Did he like you sniffing around this museum all the time?
I don't think he knew, to be honest. And even if he did, there's nothing he could have done about it. He has no right to this building. He knows that. We both know that.
Why not? It was part of his tourist attraction, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
I found these designs for a boggy costume.
Oh, some ridiculous new merchandise for tourists to waste their money on.
No, I believe the murderer was dressed like this last night when they attacked Remington.
If they were trying to scare him out of the swamp, they should have spent more time making an accurate design.
What do you mean?
Well, this design is some bizarre hybrid between the real creature and the cartoon character. It simply hasn't been researched properly.
What's wrong with it?
Well, those flippers? Pure guesswork. Nothing but foolish imagination. Nobody knows what Boggy's feet look like. No footprint has ever been recorded.
So tell me, Special Agent Folder, how would you do a better job researching it if nothing has ever been recorded?
Oh, well, that's, it's all a matter of taking the time to It's just that... But there's no way anyone would believe... Nothing but foolishness.
Aha! The great detective returns. Did you run out of ideas? Need a little push in the right direction?
No need to push me, but the direction would help.
Like it or not, I'm here to help you.
I get it. You give me a map, then you magically disappear and hide behind a tree for an hour. You want me to be impressed?
Did you talk to all the suspects yet?
I'm working on it. You can't rush these things, you know.
Have you noticed anything unusual?
I notice that this is going to take longer than I originally planned, and I'm getting the feeling that I wasn't wrong about this tourist attraction.
What do you mean?
I had a hard time believing there could be a place like this here in a dark corner of a swamp. It didn't make sense, and it still doesn't.
Some things don't make sense straight away. You need to look a little closer.
At what? The mud? The water? The trees?
Nope. They've been here for years, and they're not to blame. They belong here.
She's gone again. Hiding in a bush, no doubt. I wonder if she'll ever tell me something I can actually understand. I found these designs for a boggy costume. Do you know anything about them?
You're asking me because you can tell I'm experienced with needlecraft and sew my own clothes?
No, but that's a good reason. Let's go with that.
Well, these designs look like they should have stayed where they were.
In the trash?
On paper.
Oh, how come?
Whoever drew them didn't really know what they were doing.
You would have done it differently?
Of course. I am a seamstress. There was a time when I considered sewing my craft, my livelihood.
Really?
When Richard Remington arrived in the swamp years ago, I offered him some of my handmade fabric as a peace offering. I don't think he cared much for it. Most likely he threw it away. A pointless gift from some strange woman.
You've been here so long, you must have crossed paths with Remington a few times. What did you think of him?
That man was a threat to the swamp. We'll be better off without him. Hopefully the curtain will fall on his little tourist attraction as well.
Better off? With a killer on the loose now?
There have been murderers loose in the swamp before.
What are you talking about?
In my time here, I've seen the swamp invaded by men. By hunters. Several times. They're relentless.
What were they hunting? Wait, what about Boggy? Is that why no one has seen him in 60 years?
They always fell short of their ultimate goal. That just meant they came back again and again, doing more harm each time.
But this area is protected by law, right?
It is now, but some men have no respect for laws, of any kind. They tried to get me to leave my home here. I stood my ground.
Obviously. But this whole area is a tourist attraction now. I doubt Remington would have allowed anyone to march into Boggy's Bog with a gun and start hunting down its main attraction. Let's see. First, then tap the faucet. And now, we... Got it! Now I know what that liquid consists of. I'll write it down in my notes. This was the exact same liquid. What's going on here? Let's see. First, then tap... And now... Got it! Now I know what that liquid consists of. I'll write it down in my notes. That was definitely the same as the other tests. The swamp slime. It's all the same. Let's see. First, then tap. And now... Got it! Now I know. I'll write it down in my note. It's the exact same liquid again. I have a feeling all this slime is coming from a single source. There's something about that green slime. The fireplace poker found at the crime scene and the black leggings are covered in the same swamp slime. Sally's leggings. They link her with the crime scene. I'll have to ask her about it.
You can put that away. I can't.
This is a 60-year-old journal. It was on display in a museum.
I know what it is.
I thought you might. I'm supposed to look to the past, right? Lady Weybridge was living in the swamp when the swamp creature was discovered by the explorer 60 years ago. Lady Weybridge. She was living here when Boggy was first discovered by the explorer. I've been looking into the history of this place.
Oh, really? Did you find anything?
Yeah. You.
You must be confused. You found me today when you barged into my house. Remember?
You were already living in the swamp when the explorer came here 60 years ago.
The explorer? That man they talk about in the museum?
The one who originally discovered Boggy. You know who I'm talking about. His sketches and notes are the only real evidence we have for this creature.
You already have his journal. You learned to read, I assume. What else do you need?
And there's a page missing from the journal. I think you know where it is.
Why on earth would I know something like that?
Because you were the only person here when the explorer visited the swamp. I have a suspicion that the swamp creature wasn't the only thing he discovered.
You're suggesting he gave me a page from the back of his journal. Or what, that I stole it?
I really have no idea. If I could see it, I might be able to make up my mind.
It doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs here, with me. You understand?
What if I promise I'll return it after I finish clearing up this mess?
Then I'll show it to you.
Is this you? He drew you into his journal? It's beautiful.
60 years ago, yes. He left the page with me. We agreed the rest of the world would manage without it.
I think there's something on the back. What's this? Footprints.
He drew me into his journal. I was 20 years old. That's the end of the story.
I bet it's not. Does this explorer have a name?
Yes.
Are you going to tell me?
No. No, thank you.
You said you knew Remington?
He and I knew each other for a long time. I came to work at his tourist attraction in the early days, when he needed help.
Well, what kept you here?
I know most people wouldn't want to work in a place like this. I actually like it here, so I was happy to oblige.
You might like it, but I still don't see why anyone would build a tourist attraction here.
Mr. Remington has his reasons. He probably had several. I don't presume to know what they all were. Even though we were friends, he had some secrets, some hobbies, that I was happy to let him keep secret.
Secrets? Hobbies? A secret hobby?
He was a man with a dream, I can tell you that much. One of Mr. Remington's secrets, I never wanted to know the details, but these men travel the world, seeking mysterious animals to hunt. They consider myths and legends to be the ultimate prey.
Hey.
So what can you tell me about your relationship with Richard Remington?
I didn't have one. I think I spoke to him twice, ever. He usually seemed really busy, but more like preoccupied.
Preoccupied? Like he was thinking about something else? Something that wasn't this tourist attraction?
Who can say? What do old men think about?
What? Are you implying that I know the answer to that? The black leggings you found in your bag this morning, they're covered in the same slime that was on the murder weapon.
Everything in this swamp is covered in slime. What's your angle, Grimoire?
Your black leggings were part of the murderer's costume.
The costume? Is that why someone took them out of my bag last night?
Well, I don't have proof someone else took them.
If I had been wearing them when I committed a crime, do you think I would hand them over to a detective the second he shows up? Besides, look at them. What do you notice?
They're loose and stretched.
That's right, someone else. Someone larger than me has worn these. They're stretched out, especially at the waist. It's pretty obvious.
So, let's see. Somebody stole them to use in their boggy costume, and then put them back in your bag when they were done?
If you say so. It's not my job to know all the details. It's my job to sell souvenirs. Do you want a souvenir?
Oh, yes, but only if you choose one for me.
You look like you could use something to wind up. You can take this one. Yeah, I have a pretty good view of him from here. Anyone supporting animal rights is okay in my book. His protest used to have a bit more energy, though. He spends more time inside his tent these days.
What's he doing in there?
I'm happy to say, I don't know.
There might be something I can ask Echo about. Echo spends less time holding the protest sign and more time in his tent. I wonder if Echo can tell me what he's been doing that's more important than his protest. You again. Ready with some cryptic advice, no doubt?
Don't let them take him.
Who? The murderer? That's my job. I gotta make sure that
No, the creature. Don't take him away. This place is his home.
Oh, Boggy. Hey, don't worry. I didn't really believe he could be, responsible for this mess.
You didn't?
Well, no. Mainly because I didn't believe he existed at all.
So, he won't get in trouble? You won't have to leave?
Well, he's been out here for what, 60 years, hasn't he? And stayed out of trouble for that long. I have a feeling some detective isn't going to change all that in one day.
Well, in that case, he says, thank you.
Ah!
So what did Mr. Remington think of you? I mean, protesting in the middle of a swamp every day.
It wasn't his swamp. If he ever truly thought it was, and he was even more of a fool than he seemed.
But he didn't like you hanging around, right?
That man was exceptionally skilled at ignoring me. Ignoring anything he didn't like.
So, what, he just left you alone?
He expected me to get bored and go home. He figured I'd get sick of this place and he'd have it back to himself.
But he didn't want it to himself, did he? He wanted lots of people to come visit all the time, surely.
I'm sure it says that in the brochure. Yes.
I heard you've been spending less time protesting recently and more time, in your tent. Normally I wouldn't pry, but it's my job to ask...
Untouched people have even noticed something like that. I usually get the impression everyone else is doing their best to ignore me.
So, you admit it's true?
You can put your notebook away. There isn't really any reason for it. Nothing worth writing down, at least.
Well, if it's not worth writing down, maybe it's worth hearing.
In that case, you'd forget it.
How do you know? Maybe it would echo in my mind.
Look, if you take a guess and get it right, I promise not to deny it.
Let's work out why Echo was hidden away in his tent. Notebook time. You've been in your tent, hiding from Boggy.
Why not? No thanks, my friend.
What?
You're not a bad detective.
Well, I found the photo in Remington's office. It was ripped up, though. I think he was some kind
He
of...
was a lot of things. Don't lose that picture. And show it to Mr. Harper before you leave.
I think it's time I went to talk to Officer James.